Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. It's great to have you on board. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in this morning. And the futures are up here. The futures are up about 4 right now. Fair value is like 1, so the market's set to open up around 5 points this morning. Um, and that's a good thing for the market. See it gap up a little bit like this. It had quite a finish last night. Remember, we always look at the closes on stocks and the market, and it rallied into the close last night, and some of the stocks went along with that, which is a positive sign for the most part that the next day will be up, and so far it is this morning. A couple of things overseas: the ECB and the Bank of England held rates at their record lows. The markets were up over there before that announcement, and they held the gains. I'm sure it was volatile. The reports just say the markets held their gains on the day. They might have been up a little bit more after that, but they were already up beforehand. Uh, and here in the United States, the jobless claims. Now, the jobless claims out this morning, they fell by 15,000. They fell to 330,000 versus an estimate or a forecast of 335. So that was a positive, but that's a weekly number. The bigger number is going to be the number out tomorrow morning, the unemployment situation. It happens at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, at 6:30 out my way. And that's going to be the bigger number. And initially, with ADP, well, the jobless claims, we stated this a little bit yesterday, and ever since the ADP report came out, there's been talk out there that expectations might be just a little bit higher for the Fed report coming out, the Fed jobs number coming out. We'll see what it has in store for us. Again, that's tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern time, and we're going to be looking at the reaction to that number. Okay, and that's about it this week. As far as reports go, I mean, the first week of the year is typically one of the most heavily week as far as reports go. Not first week of the month is one of the first is typically the heaviest week of reports that come out. So getting through this week, and right now everything looks pretty bullish as far as the market goes. Macy's, big store. There's a lot of those out here in my way, and probably out in most places. They planned 2,500 job cuts for cost reduction reasons. And that's always seen as a positive whenever a company is taking steps to lower their costs, right? Ford and Ford, they announced a quarterly dividend of 0.12 cents, and that's a 5-cent annualized return, 5-cent annualized dividend. You can see what they've done this morning. They're up slightly, up about 30 cents from where they were, but you can see how these things move after hours based on these type of events. You know, those who get the news first can jump in, but usually by the time everybody gets the news, it's already made its move. I remember when I first started trading, I thought, man, I can just watch the news and something comes out, I can just go buy it. But by the time it seemed the news came out, the stock had already made its move. And you guys have probably noticed that too. Um, Bed Bath Beyond, they missed by 3 cents last night. Their revenues were slightly lower, and they lowered expectations. And then see what happened to them after hours. From just under 80 bucks down to about 73 is where they're trading at right now. Pretty stiff drop right there for Bed Bath and Beyond. And then another one too, and there's been some talk of this in the chat already this morning. It was Costco. Costco came out. Their comps were up 5% in December, 11.5 billion. This is for a 4 to 5 week period in December. 11.5 billion versus 10.87 billion, which they did last year during the same period. So a big reversal there on Costco based on some good numbers from the month of December. But yeah, this it was just an ugly chart going short, and it looked like it was going to keep going. But that's what news can do for you. But look at it falling a little bit. It's come down. It's about 116 about $1 off the highs, but it's going to be a volatile one today. Overall, I've seen these things where they get some good news like that. By the end of the day, finish lower, or they can run. It's right now. It's a fundamental move and see how it plays out. There's nothing we can do look at technically on a news announcement like that. All right. Okay. Another one that had a bad, a slight miss was FDO, Family Dollar. They missed by a cent, but they warned for Q2 and the full year of 2014. So that's another one that's most likely going to see some downside today. Okay, some of the stocks we talk about in here. Let's look over some of these and some of the upgrades and downgrades that's been out there today. Uh, One of the ones that was on my top three, Autodesk. They got an upgrade to an overweight by Evercore Partners this morning. It was already a bullish looking chart, and man, you pile an upgrade on that. Not by one of the larger firms out there, but an upgrade is an upgrade on a strong chart already. It's just going to probably add a little bit more strength to Autodesk this morning. And then Johnson & Johnson got an upgrade to a buy, and they say it's a great entry point, and from Jefferies. Now remember, when these guys like Jefferies or all of these type of institutions that give these upgrades and downgrades, they're typically fundamental traders, and when they say it's a buy, and like a Kramer, when they say buy, 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 they're saying buy it now and hold it for years. Um, and I'm sure we've all been there too. Way back when I was day trading, I would see something like that and say, they're saying it's a buy, let's go buy it. And you learn pretty quick that that's not what you do as near-term traders. Okay, so the market's open right now. I got some other things that we can cover, but let's go look around the market and see how things are opening for us. Our positions were all flat to up, the three positions prior to the market open. Boeing was set to open fairly flat. Morgan Stanley and Qualcomm were both set to open higher this morning. Right now the market's opening up about 3 points higher. If you look over at Boeing, it's up 63 cents, and this was the one that was really not a lot of indication. The bid and the ask, the price was sitting right in between the bid and the ask, but it gapped up this morning about 63 cents. Qualcomm, which had a phenomenal finish last night into the close, where it ran up right into the close, closed above the 7, a nice strong push into the close on some pretty good volumes as well. You notice the volumes yesterday picked up as it's making this move right here. Gapping up this morning about 24 cents. Would love to see this thing get over 74 today. Really a gain on this with this, just another positive. It has a lot of momentum right now. And then Morgan Stanley up about 10 cents. It opened. That's where it was set pre-market. It gapped there, and it's just sitting there right now. We've been open for a minute now, so we'll take the early gaps, and we'll see where this day goes. But really, all three positions are sitting in really bullish spots right now. Richard. uh, yeah, I mean, we talk about the news and how over time, when you're trading, it should be about 50-50 as far as being in a trading when it gets some good news, or being a trade when it gets some bad news. It will basically have the news work in your favor, and sometimes you can be in some great trades up quite a bit and it gets some bad news and down it goes. Or like Costco was a bearish looking trade. We weren't in that, but it was a bearish looking trade. It was in a downtrend. Well, let's go look at it. And then here comes some news out from Costco. Shoots it up about 2%. It's already pulling back slightly. I'd look at it on Thinkorswim to see if it did gap up there, and it's already down a buck, because when we were looking at this not very long ago, it was trading just above 116. So that might be showing a little bit of pre-market action here, showing it hitting 117 on the open this morning, because remember, we were just looking at it just above 116. All right, and Yeah, I mean, the news, that's the one thing. You can't anticipate what's going to happen with any type of news, from upgrades to um, plane fires to, whatever it might be, earthquakes, tsunamis, there's anything like that, but it can work for you and it can work against you. But yeah, paper trading versus live trading, it brings your emotions into it a heck of a lot more in the live trading, and your dollars, right? It brings your dollars into it, which brings the emotions. Okay, so let's run through the top. I had two yesterday. Las Vegas Sands gapping up about 50 cents this morning. Had a strong looking chart yesterday. Nice move so far this morning. Then Autodesk up 82 cents. It's up 1.5%. Gap higher. It's run slightly here since the open, up towards the $51 level. It's sitting there about right now. Yeah, it's a positive, a strong move. If we go and look at bringing the Bollinger Bands on both of our positions, just inside the band, but it's been just inside the band during this trip. It's right back up there, so a very positive move here for Autodesk and Las Vegas Sands, which was already a trend rider bear bull, trend rider bull, as well as a vibe bull signal yesterday. Very nice moves. Okay, so and then from a couple days ago, let's see how those positions are doing this morning. Delphi gapped up about 18 cents this morning, and that's where it sits, up 18 cents. It's still in a bullish position. And then Valero. Now Valero had a nice run into the close last night, and you gotta love these. Let's take a look at this. So one of my top three over here, and it's because I really like this reversal action where it dropped, ran down below the 7. Uh, we're right around a big number here too. Okay, 50. Right around a big number. So it gaps over 50, runs below 50 and the 7-day moving average to run back above 50. It was a strong move. Put it on my top three. Had a very nice finish yesterday. It was down most of the day. Remember, Valero was down most of the day. Right towards the latter part of the day, it went positive, pushed up in the upper band. It's still in the upper band this morning. This could be one of those that you could ride it with the upper band. If it closes inside the band, get out. If you want to take a profit along the way, some time because you're happy with it, I'm never going to argue that. Okay. If you do take a profit, don't worry if it keeps running. Just look at the money in your account and be happy and wait for another trade and look for the next entrance. But yeah, it still looks strong. Just reading chats. VLP, Armin, yeah, IPO here, Valero Energy Partners. Just looking at this, yeah, I mean, there's nothing technically here. This would be more an emotional trade, and all you could go by really is okay. Where's it going to find some support? Is it going to be 31? It's just even tough. You'd think a bigger number would be like 30, but doesn't mean it's going to drop all the way here to 30. There's just not enough information here yet. We've had a 7-day moving average now for about maybe 3 weeks, so it's just a tough call, and it's more of a emotional trade. Again, you're just kind of guessing as to where it's going to hold and where it's going to move. You could wait and see if it closes back above 33 or the 7-day moving average, but again, it just don't have much information to tell us how even it's going to react around the 7-day. But typically, it's the 7 works on about most every stock. It's just a tough one. YRCW. What would I need to see to get short? Now that's a pretty stiff move this morning. I don't know if there was earnings on this, but for a stock to run down initially over $4 down here to $14, and it's reversed $2 off that bottom. It's pretty wild right now. Let me yeah, I mean, obviously, probably some news here, but you can see how it ran down after hours. Really, it opened up here at 16. It never traded while the market's been open here at 14, and that's the same thing we saw over there at Costco. And stock charts will eventually, this will pop back out, and you'll see it open up around this level. They'll reposition that, but so it's not down as much. It's been rallying here. Check the news if there's it could be earnings. I'm not sure what it is. I haven't looked at this. I haven't followed it too often. I got some stories about this company here, but I won't bother you with those right now. This one to get short, I would need this thing to settle down right away like this. This volatile morning open like this, it's just hard to do anything. It looks like probably a fundamental move and not a technical move. These big gaps like that, they throw the technicals off. The technicals are blown for a while. So what I would need if you would to get short is let this thing settle down. It's got to settle down, give it 2, 3 days, maybe a week, and then fall, run, do whatever it's going to do, and let it settle down, and then find. So let's say that we go that it closes. For fun, let's just say it closes down here at 14. All right, we'll let it run back up a little bit, let that 7 catch up with it, and then look to see it bounce back down off the 7 if that would ever happen, right? And this is, we're just making this up right now. If it ever did come back up towards the 7 and push back down off of that 7, then you got a little bit more information back in a move like that, okay, where it's, okay, now it's set to run. But right here, where it's just the gap, it's just kind of in no man's land. It's, where do you set risk reward? Stops, targets, you just can't do it right here. Does that make sense? Oh, okay. Union contract negotiations. I got a brother-in-law that works for this company. That's why I have some stories. It's been a rough haul for that company. Um, Yahoo up 5 cents. Okay, initially nothing here. It's just sideways. It was up a little bit, so there's no big drops. It's just holding the level overall. And this would be considered bullish consolidation, even if it closed right here. That's fine. Just the 7's catching up with it, and it would likely happen to be pushed back up off the 7, and it'd probably run higher. So nothing there yet. And that's the thing about trading. You find some nice looking setups, and you can get in the setups. You love it to go the next day, just skyrocket for you. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it just is like a snail for a little while, not going anywhere. And that's where patience comes into play. If the technicals are still there, if there's nothing that's blown the technicals, as far as a bullish type of an entry or a bearish for that matter, then what you do it can be tough sometimes to sit and watch them, but that's really the best thing to do is watch them and let the trade play out. If it goes below the stop, then get out. If it keeps running on you or keeps working for you, you stay in it. All right. Boeing, yeah, it's up a cent. It's still up in that area. It's very similar to what we were just looking at Yahoo. Just there's nothing bearish here. It's holding the level up there. It's above 140, holding the level. The 7's running up. This is more bullish in nature than it is bearish. JCI. So JCI here has been channeling, well, for quite a while now, right? Basically 50 to 51 at $1 channel. Except the Bollinger Band's extremely tight in here. So what you got to do is, yeah, you could call this a rectangular pattern, a rectangle pattern. There's different things, but really when it gets like this, you got to let it decide which way this is going to go. Is it going to break to the upside? Which, if it does break to the upside, and this has been in this channel now for about a month, it's going to be a nice move. When these channels remain tight like that, it's like a spring being wound on them, and eventually when they break, they really spring out. But you got to let it give you an idea of which way this is going to go, because it could spring to the bottom, it could spring out to the top. It's remaining here at the top, but it just can't seem to get through, and you can see a little bit of a wrong button ascending triangle there, but we've seen these two in the past, and they don't seem to ever do anything. So now watch it, and it closes up inside the upper Bollinger Band, then you have something. Okay, but or it closes down inside up into the lower, down into the lower Bollinger Band, you got something there. But right now, it's made this type of a move for a bunch of times here this last month. You just got to watch it into the close and see if this is going to push up into that upper band like that. And if it can do it on some pretty good volume, that would even give you a better signal. But a lot of times it doesn't give you the volume that you'd like to see. But that's what I look for. Push up into the band and let it close within that band. Congratulations, Deb. Nice. Gotta love it. Uh, for those in the recording, Deb saying she made 40% this morning on ADSK, $800. Nice. Amazon gapping up this morning. Yesterday it closed up above the 400 level, and then this morning gaps up higher. Yeah, nice looking trade so far. 15 minutes into it, up $2.50 right now. It's about half a percent. Yeah, initially a nice move on Amazon. Thanks, Max. Nice. Okay. Excellent, Max. Halliburton. Halliburton got an upgrade this morning to a sector perform at Howard Wheel. And I've been seeing Howard Wheel's name a lot this week. They've been pretty active out there in the upgrade front. It's not one of the bigger names to give upgrades, but I'm not sure if this morning's move is based on that upgrade. Could be. It's up about a percent. Watch the 50-minute and get up on over 50 and over the 7 right there. You might see a little bit of a higher low set in here from the past low of 49, which would be a positive for it. Eventually, there's a possibility here if it does start to push up that you might get a trend rider bull signal, because the bands are pretty darn tight there. They don't get too tight on Halliburton. Last time they got tight, you can see the breakout to the upside. They're that tight again. But it's right along the center band right now, so we've got to see which way that looks to go. Las Vegas Sands, yeah, I mean, we've been open 15 minutes. Nothing here technically to worry about. It's going to have these little fluctuations. Overall, technicals are still looking strong. Yeah, let's go check the futures. Up 2, they've sold off just slightly. It's nothing here as far as the futures. So let's go check the market itself. Yeah, up about 3. So the market's hanging in there. Futures are hanging in there. Our positions: Qualcomm up a quarter, and then Morgan Stanley up 8 cents, and then Boeing, we just looked at it, up 26 cents. So they're all up early on like this. There's nothing here to react to. I mean, they're bullish. All the bullish signals are still there, but I'll let this play out a little bit more. Yeah, Deb. American Airlines. Oh, this is Continental. American. I always get this. Let's go look at the airlines and see. They're all up this morning. Yeah, all the airlines are just flying this morning. No pun intended. Thanks, Deb. I always get that confused. Yeah, all these airlines are doing good. I have to look into that. Probably an upgrade for the group or something out there causing a bump right here. Thank you, you guys. Yeah, Baidu, gapped up into the upper band right there, about $1.20. It's about a half a percent. And yeah, it's been a good looking stock. Yesterday was a decent. Looked at this yesterday. I pretty much cherry pick on my top three, but it was a vibe bull signal. I go to the vibe here. All the averages rising, and then yesterday you get that push here up out above the prior resistance there at 180. Big number right here. You get a push up through it. Sold off a little bit into the close, but still, I mean, it's a nice looking chart. It may retest 180 to see if that holds as support. It may not, but it wouldn't surprise me to see it pull back a little bit, or it might keep running 185 but have some little bit of pullback in here. If it's above 180, even more bullish. But yeah, this is just a bullish looking chart. I like it. Cena, Sohu, they're all down a little bit. Netflix, they've been struggling. Yeah, this is just kind of consolidating after the gap down there to 340. Just been consolidating since. Have to see that. Yeah, Delta, all the airlines doing very well this morning. Now, another stock we looked at yesterday was Harley Davidson. Had a decent move. It's down 16 cents. But there's nothing there technically. It's up to the 70. You notice that the highs keep coming in here higher and higher and higher. It broke out of the ascending triangle pattern yesterday. It's at 70. Odds are, it might take a little while, but odds are this thing breaks through 70. Okay, thanks, Deb. Now Johnson and Johnson. I've been looking at them. They're gapping this morning. This gapped away from us a few days ago, but Johnson and Johnson, they were upgraded to a buy. Again, they were said that it was a great entry point. This was over there at Jeffries, and so a lot of good news for Johnson and Johnson. Is that affecting some of the other ones there? Probably not. No, these are all been struggling, but Johnson and Johnson seems to be the power play there. One stock I've been watching, and we've been watching and waiting for Toyota. We were looking at Toyota back in November, hoping to play a bounce higher, but it has just sold off and sold off and sold off. Now it's starting to possibly get interesting. We're going to have to watch this, but it's been this thing, when you get on the right side of it, can just fly. And well, we got a higher low. If 120 can hold, it's not bouncing up off of it yet, but possibly a higher low locked in here. But this is a stock we'll keep an eye on, but I don't see anything right there. Okay, airlines reports go on a record new jet shopping spree, which could be good for our position here in Boeing, right? Up 50 cents. So thanks, Mike. Yeah, Bank of America. Now, some of you guys traded this. I know Jeff did. I was off when they traded this. It wasn't one that went out through the website. It was more of a just a personal trade that Jeff was making. I guess a lot of you made it too. And but this is one of those cases where if you didn't get in it, it's not giving you much of a chance to get back into it, to get into it later on, because you got up in this range, consolidated a little bit. The 7 never caught it. And it looks like if it finishes like this and pushes up over 1675, it's going to be very bullish. And Jeff has talked about this could go to 1819. Doesn't mean it's going straight there, but really book value on this thing is over 20, just over 20. And so 1819, not much of a problem for this thing, and it's been one of the big performers in there. All right, well, let's look at Morgan Stanley. It's up 5 cents. What are some of the other ones doing this morning? Goldman's down a little bit. Wells Fargo up. JP Morgan, now do you remember JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, they both announce, I believe it's Tuesday. These are the big ones, the big financials that always are the first to announce, the big power plays here. So next week we're getting into earnings. Now, and it used to be that Alcoa, if you've been in the market, if you've been in the market, you remember that owing, Alcoa was always, oh, they're the company that kicks off earnings season. And I was like, what? Alcoa? What does that affect? It's not the best gauge, but it was a Dow 30, and it was the first one to report. A. It was the first one to report, and so they always now they would always kick it off, but now they're out of the Dow. And I haven't really heard him saying that Alcoa kicks off earnings this time, but they have it ever since even the first time the earnings season after they were booted out of the Dow. It was still Alcoa's kicking off earnings. I haven't heard it this time, but maybe it's the big financials that are going to be the ones that really kick off earnings season. That's, to me, that would make more sense. Something that's going to have a little bit more of an impact out there. Thanks, Jake. Um, WHR. Thank you. I'm sorry if I missed that. You're getting through. I'm sorry if I missed that, but Smitty. But yeah, yesterday. Zoom in on this a little bit. Yesterday was a vibe bull signal. It had some volume going with it. It's just not pushing out yet. It's up a little bit, pulled back. It's got this ascending triangle pattern as well. Looks at, everything here. The higher highs, higher lows are still all in effect here. Everything here points higher, just not taken off quite yet. So yeah, I wouldn't. There's no the bearish nature of this type of a trend right here is not off. In fact, it looks more likely to go higher from here than it does to drop. You know. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about this if you're in a trade here. Just let's let this play out for you today. Apple, yeah, look at that, trying there to get up over that 7-day moving average. Gapped up, trying to run up. A positive for this, for me, a positive here would be to get over 7, get over 550. Get over the 7, get over 550. Then you might have something and to run on. Now, we talked about this yesterday of this double top pattern here. It's a bearish double top, and that area right there is what it would need to confirm. Now, if this reversed this bearish pattern right here, it would be very bullish for Apple. But again, I would need it to get up above 550 to get interested in playing this long. And get through that 7, get up over 550. That would be a nice looking setup. Go look at Starbucks. Okay, it's down 62 cents. Yeah, if there's no news out here, really, looking at it technically, there's no news here. It's just an early morning pullback. Now, I'll have to go look for the news. I haven't dug around. I didn't see anything on Starbucks this morning. I'll have to go and see if there is anything. But really, right now, this doesn't look There's very low volume. If there is some big news, you'd see a little bit higher volume at this point, but very low volume. It just might be an early morning pullback. It broke through the 7 yesterday. See if it can't come back up. If it comes back below the 7 today and you're long on this, then I would get out. But if it can hold that 7 or by the end of the day reverse and push back up towards the 78, then it's likely to go. Early on, if you're in a trade bullish, then it might be one of those, oh, what's up? Come on. But there's you just got to let it play out and see where it goes. VLO, yeah, nice. It's up almost 2% this morning. And good job. You get in that trade. Go look at this through a trend writer. So yeah, this would be the third day in a row. It's in the upper Bollinger Band. And see the volumes there? Those astronomical volumes. That's when I see a trend writer signal, and I see that kind of volume. And this was such just a beautiful setup because, again, you had that reversal here on this day. Had the reversal, you had big time volumes on a strong reversal. I mean, strong reversal like that, it's just a beautiful looking entrance signal. So congratulations if you're in that. Alcoa tagged with bribery charges overseas. Yes. And that's not the first company that's done this. There's been some in the past. I forget names, but yeah, it's you know I spent a lot of time as a growing up going down into Mexico. Had some relatives that lived down there. I know some Spanish. There's no Spanish blood in me, but I have some relatives that live down there, and I saw it all the time. You go across the border, and there was a little bit. They'd find something wrong with paperwork or something, and you'd say, "Geez, I got $5 here," and oh yeah, well that will take care of it. And see it constantly. I haven't been down there in a while, but yeah, I'm sure that kind of stuff happens. And to get busted like that for a big company like that, that's never a good thing. All right. Flipper, yeah, you're looking at FinViz to see that, and FinViz is not right. I believe it's the 17th. They're always one of the last, 17th or 18th for earnings on Morgan Stanley. They're always one of the last in the group to hold. The bigger, really, when they're the last ones of the big financials to announce, the move's almost going to be played out because you've got JP Morgan, you got a Wells Fargo that announced on Tuesday. I think that Morgan Stanley might be more affected by those moves than anything. But yeah, that is not right as far as, and I was stating that initially too, but has since looked into it further, and some of you have made the comment too that I believe it's the 17th or 18th on Morgan Stanley. But thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, XLE coming back. You're right. Let's go back and look at Harley Davidson. Yep, going back to break even here. Those initial morning pullbacks like that. That's I used to love to trade those. One of my favorite trades when I was day trading. Watch stocks pull back. They were in some nice uptrends overall. Watch them pull back in the morning, and find that little bottom and get in. That was one of my favorite trades in the morning when I was back in the day. Twitter down 74 cents. This has been getting a lot of downgrades, but still technically there's just not much to go on. Yeah, I mean, there you can look at this and say, "Hey, Carl, check that out. There's a double top pattern right there, right? You can see a little bit of a double top, but with no history to run on, that would be the area right there for it to break for a little bit of a double top. But with no history to go on, is it really going to mean much? When I see chart patterns like this, I like to go back and see if I can find them in the past and see how it's reacted to it. It's not a lot of history here. Remember, chart patterns are based on human behavior, but yeah, we haven't traded this yet. I'm sure we will in the future, but I like to get a little bit more history behind it before I start looking to trade. Yeah, you're right. AK. Max, I mean. Okay. All right, let's run back over our positions really quick. There goes Boeing up $1.11. Positive sign of it just keeping going. Got Morgan Stanley up 12 cents. It's about where it opened, maybe slightly higher than where it opened. And then Qualcomm up 40 cents, gapped and is pushed up. That's nice. Nice to see Qualcomm. And that's what I was hoping for, but it was a move just like this. And we talked about the technicals here and what was keeping us in. Um, it ran away from us on this day. Remember this day? Within a few minutes of the open, it dropped about 70 plus cents, almost to the low of the day. So we held it, but then it held that level for a few days. And then this day right here was kind of a game changer because remember these other days it would always sell off, and it would buy back a little bit at the close, but it would keep selling it off. But then when that happened, it was down most of the day and all of a sudden reversed towards the latter part and ran up. That's where of course, we're talking hindsight. I could impress you forever, but that's where in my mind I'm thinking, okay, things are changing here. I could see some upside. And the same thing yesterday, went negative for the day, didn't look that good, and then rallied into the close. It's just very positive signs. And move up into the upper Bollinger Band here, you've got a trend rider bull signal. Uh, Yesterday, if I bring in the vibe, yesterday was a vibe bull signal on Qualcomm. This thing really can zoom. You see all the averages rising and a push up through the the 7-day moving average, and all the averages rising, the indicators rising, everything was a vibe bull signal. And today it's gapping up over the recent resistance area here at 74. So far holding it this morning. So yeah, it's positive for all of our positions. Okay, yeah, nice, Richard. Yeah, Boeing's option priced hit $7. Okay, anybody been fishing lately? We haven't talked fishing in here for a while. It's too cold out here, and I know for most places it's cold. Um, all right, well let's just a couple other things I want to run through. Facebook, it's up this morning, up 32 cents. Look for this 57.5 to hold. The sevens there coming up on it. Yeah, and this level holds, which has been prior resistance over here, right? Just right here, right about that level. This level can hold and lock in a new support level above that, and then you got a nice run here probably coming for Facebook. And you can also, let me go up a little bit, look at this as not one of the prettiest ones I've ever seen, but cup with handle, right? There's your cup, rounded bottom, there's your handle. To break out above that point right there would be very positive. Actually, this one right here was a very nice, not only a bull vibe signal, but pretty. It's not quite confirmation, but in my book, it's just about confirmation, and that's where it went on a top three right here. It was of a nice pattern confirmed at that level. Yeah, ice fish. I did that last year. I took a group of scouts up to a lake in northeastern Utah, and we slept outside. I slept in my Suburban, but we slept outside in -7 degrees, and the scouts were all over the place. And believe it or not, no one got cold at night, but boy, it was cold. It wasn't a lot of fun. Not taking them out this year to there. Yeah, that's about what we caught. 5 pounds of ice on my nose is where it was. Uh, all right, everybody. I'll be on chat with you all day. If you have any questions or comments, reach me through chat, or if you want to reach me through email, that's fine as well. Carl, and that's with a C at traderminute.com. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.